Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET now. And just before we proceed with the other set of stocks that are in focus, let's take a note of the flashes on the bottom of your screen. We are collating this data coming in from Times Now, and it's from Times Now, from the channel Times Now. Sources have told Times Now that apart from the Lok Sabha Speaker post, TDP can demand for 3 cabinet berths as well as two Minister of State berths is what sources have told Times Now. Apart from that, TDP may demand some important ministries like road and transport, you have housing and urban rural development. Apart from that, JDU is likely to demand for 3 cabinet berths as well as 2 Minister of State, while Eknath Shinde, Chirag Paswan could ask for 1 cabinet berth each along with Jitin Manji as well. So crucial developments coming in on that particular front, but for now it is all source-based information. Remember that the NDA alliance meeting will take place at 5 p.m. Today, and the BJP and NDA parliamentary meeting will be held on June 7th. And sources have also said that most likely we will have the swearing-in ceremony on June 8th, which is a Saturday, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi is likely to take oath once again as the Prime Minister on June 8th. So those are the developments coming in on the political front, Winnie.
Absolutely, development coming in on the political front, but let's keep it going with those buzzing stocks. And now we have Dhwani Patel joining in with us. Dhwani, very good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining in with us. The first stock now that's making the list is from the FMCG pack, Dabur. What's the view on this one? What is the target price that you're keeping?
Good afternoon, girls. Today, Dabur is absolutely on focus, given that yesterday we also saw the run-up coming in FMCG. The defensives were taking up a positive bet over here. Dabur definitely is on the radar for the reason being weekly chart becomes very interesting over here, where we have got a weekly breakout of a triangular formation over here, and from current levels it's a buy coming in on Dabur. On the higher side, I'm looking up at positional gains where a target of 690 can be achieved on this particular counter, and a stop loss on the lower side that one needs to maintain has to be at 580.
Okay, let's move on to the next stock that we're talking about, and this is Hindalco. That's in focus again. Now, we saw the stock price actually fell as much as 6% intraday today. That was the last time when I checked. This came in after in the morning what we saw an announcement. Actually, sorry, I beg your pardon. It's seen Hindalco has seen a rise coming back from the day's lowest point. We've seen that recovery now. So yes, a sharp recovery. But what was the news flow early in the morning? That is US subsidiary Novelis Inc., which was set for IPO. Now the IPO was postponed due to market conditions. The company will continue to evaluate the timing of the offering in the future. That is what Novelis said. But we are keeping an eye out on Hindalco. Surely recovered from the day's lowest point, and Hindalco had seen a good move in the last few sessions before. Yesterday's day as well.
Yes, absolutely. That is Hindalco for you. Was under pressure one point in time, then saw a solid recovery. In fact, yesterday also, Dhwani, towards the fag end of the trading session, we saw these metal counters see a recovery, and Hindalco was one of the names actually that saw a recovery from the day's lowest point. Where do you see Hindalco headed from here on?
Absolutely. Hindalco, again, as I said, that quite a lot of stocks yesterday tested their 50 period and 200 period exponential moving averages, and from there we are seeing a recovery coming in this counter. Hindalco is also one of those counters where yesterday it tested its 50 period exponential moving average, and from there we are seeing upticks coming in today's session. From the current level also one can go long into it, as the fall yesterday has not yet broken its bullish trajectory which it had been maintaining since March, where the stock rose from 550 levels to 700. From current level, a short-term trade can be initiated from the current levels, keeping 2 to 3 days of a horizon in time, where a short-term target of 720 can be looked upon on this particular one. Stop loss on the lower side that one needs to maintain over here is of 655.
Stop loss of 655, 720 is what one could watch out for Hindalco in the near term. That's the word from Dhwani. But let's move on and actually quickly mark what the markets are doing, because 22,500 is what the Nifty is again climbed back to. 600, more than 600 point recovery from the day's lowest point is what we have seen for the Nifty 50. What is pulling up the markets today? We have HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, Reliance again managing to hold on to gains of 1.7%. M&M as well as Infosys among the top gainers in the market, which have actually pulled up the market, and that is why we're seeing a good up move overall in the market when heavyweights are performing well.
Absolutely, a steady recovery coming in for the benchmark indices, including Nifty Bank as well as the broader markets. But let's take a look at what Lupin is doing in trade today, because that one is actually seeing a good up move. And one of the reasons why Lupin is seeing such a good up move is because Lupin's arm has completed the acquisition of two brands from Sanofi, the acquisition of RNA in Germany and Nalchrome in Canada and Netherlands are the reasons why you see Lupin actually see an up move. Along with the acquisition, they've also got the associated trademark rights from Sanofi for both of these brands, and that's why the stock is actually climbing in trade today, now trading higher by about 5.8%, 5.08% as we speak, Winnie.
Absolutely, but let's move on to the next stock, and one more from the pharma name is Cipla, Dhwani. Cipla on the charts, what are we expecting now? Should we expect a decent up move from this one?
Absolutely. We are expecting that the pharma will take up the positive trajectory over here, given that defensives are the counters in focus yesterday and today as well. Cipla is also maintaining its upward trajectory. On the lower side, we did see 1330 hold out as a good support level, post which the support levels are shifting on the higher level in this particular counter. Now the support levels have shifted to 1430 over here, and from today's session also trading above today's high, we'll be seeing a fresh breakout coming in on Cipla on daily basis, where the swing highs which were made over here in March 24 will be broken on the higher side. 1600 on the short term can be looked upon for this particular counter. On the lower side, the stop loss that one needs to maintain is of 1450.
Keep an eye out on those levels there. Let's move on and talk about SpiceJet then. Ankita, why is SpiceJet in focus today? I've seen a run-up coming for the stock.
Well, yes, SpiceJet is up and away, trading with gains of over 8.5%, and that's after a bullish commentary coming in from the CMD Ajay Singh. In fact, he told our colleague Sumit Chaturvedi that SpiceJet is very difficult to kill, and they have the DNA where they fight and they stay alive, and they are also restructuring their liabilities, and they're going to start another round of fundraise very soon over the last few months, and they also said that they will completely clean up their balance sheet over the next 2 quarters, and that's the word coming in from the CMD. And on the back of a bullish commentary coming in there, SpiceJet is trading with gains of over 8.5%.
All right, over 8.5% up move coming in for SpiceJet on back of that commentary saying that the company will sustain going ahead. But looks like on that note, we will slip into a break on this edition of Market Fatafat. But don't forget, viewers, 2:15 is the time when we will be joined by Christopher Wood of Jefferies to talk about what next coming in for the markets. How should you position
very interesting, right? Everyone wants to know what's next, especially from big voices. The FI side, we've not seen anything exciting. Will that actually come back? And with the results out of the way now for elections, what is going to come in place? Something that will be interesting to know from Chris Wood of
Absolutely. Jefferies. So wait for that interview. 2:15 is the time for it.
And you're watching Market Fatafat on ET now, and Cheryl, surely seems like that momentum has picked up in terms of the gains that we've seen for the Nifty 50. 3 to 4% recovery from the day's lowest point. Very interesting. 22,550 levels around that is what the Nifty is managing to trade at. And even other than that, metals, now that's picked up really in terms of a pace that we've seen, and metals is shining bright. It's among the top sectorial gainer, and obviously we spoke about some of the individual names. Hindalco, we have Nalco, SAIL, Hindustan Copper, Vedanta, which are among the top gainers in the metal pack as well, holding on to very, very strong gains between the range of 8 to 10% for all these names. So keeping an eye out on the metal pack. Seems like shining bright after the FMCG side also picking up a bit of pace. But let's move on to the next stock that we're highlighting, and we have Uflex that's in focus. Why is that so? The stock is trading with gains of almost 3% as of now. They've actually signed a power purchase agreement and a share subscription agreement. This is for an acquisition of 5% equity share, which is of around 10 crores, and this is One Volt Energy Private Limited. The investment is intended mainly for solar power sourcing, and this is going to be in the long-term basis, and this is going to be under the company's group captive power policy. On the back of that, today we're seeing Uflex clearly picked up that pace of growth and momentum that we saw for Uflex, and that is why managing to hold on to gains of 3%, day's highest point around that level right now.
All right, that is Reflex for you, holding on to good gains. There's another counter that's holding on to good gains, and that is Shilpa Medicare. It saw an uptick of as much as 8% last time I checked the stock. Now it's trading higher about 10%. It is actually on track to snap a 2-day losing streak. The company has informed the exchanges. They've said that the unit has filed its first drug master file of a recombinant human albumin 20% with the US FDA. The drug master file is actually used to provide detailed information about a drug's manufacturing, packaging as well as storing, and usually what is this drug purely treated for is for blood volume loss. Blood volume loss is actually treated with a recombinant human albumin 20%, and that's why the stock is seeing a good up move. In fact, trading above its 200-day simple moving average for the first time since January 31st.
Absolutely, that is Shilpa Medicare for you all. But let's move on to the next stock. And Dhwani, you've picked out Avanti feed for us on the charts and technicals. How is that looking like?
Absolutely. This is a counter in focus for now over here, because the reason being the stock has been trading in a range bound trajectory since quite some time. We saw that the range started since January this month, and it's still trading into that range. On the lower side, 480 to 475 is what we are maintaining, and on the higher side, it's 590 that we are not able to break out. So currently we are moving again above from the bottom of the range. It's a buy opportunity from the current levels for a target again of a swing high, which is 590. On the lower side, the stop loss that one needs to maintain over here is of 480.
That's all about Avanti feeds. But Ankita, coming to you, Greaves Cotton. Why is this one in focus today?
Yes, Greaves Cotton is soaring away in trade. In fact, it's trading with gains of over 5% right now. It is on the back of the fact that, after the company's subsidiary, Greaves Electric Mobility Private Limited, announced the commencement of deliveries, for the Nexus electric scooters in Bangalore. And the company has said that the Ampere Nexus is locally designed, developed and manufactured in India. And the company said that, the phased delivery of Nexus scooters will begin in the first week of June 2024 in Bangalore and extend throughout the month to ensure delivery to customers who pre-booked for scooters. And on the back of this news flow, Greaves Cotton is up and away 5.1% in trade.
All right, so that is all about Greaves Cotton, but that was the last stock in this edition of Market Fatafat. Thank you so much, Dhwani, for joining us on the show, as well as Nagaraj and Ankita for joining us on the show and taking our viewers through all the stocks moving in trade. But on that note, we slip into a break on this edition of Market Fatafat. But stay tuned, a big exclusive interview lined up for you on the other side.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.